Let's talk about how to become an unstoppable artist. And when I say unstoppable, I mean it literally. I'm talking about becoming undeterred from making art regardless of what is happening in your life. Now, what you're probably imagining when you clicked on this video is me talking about an artist who just makes beautiful art no matter what happens. And that is actually not the goal because that's a very unrealistic goal. It's much easier to become an artist who just makes art all the time than it is to become an artist who makes beautiful art all the time, because your vision for your art and your standards for your art will keep shifting as you grow. So you'll never actually make art that's beautiful all the time in your own eyes. But the goal is actually to feel good. If you think about the idea of making art that is beautiful all the time, the thing that's appealing about it is that it actually feels good to make it, right? Like, when you imagine yourself as an artist who is unstoppable in terms of quality, you just assume that it will feel good all the time. It'll be so much fun. It'll give you all this freedom. But why is there an assumption that you need to make high quality art to have those feelings? There's no reason why you can't get those same feelings by making ugly art. You can make ugly art and still feel those ways about the art because you enjoy it so much. Just look at children. How often do children make art that is not the greatest, right? It doesn't win any awards, but they enjoy it the entire time through it. That is possible for you right now. But there are certain things that make it harder to actually feel those feelings, like unhealthy expectations. As we become older, as we grow up, we start to develop expectations for our art because we assume that we have to be serious adults. We have to be serious artists. It's not productive unless it's good. It doesn't deserve space unless it's good. But this mindset is completely wrong. It doesn't have to be this way. Now, striving towards quality is valuable. I'm not saying that you don't need to strive towards it at any capacity, right? Like, wanting to improve is good. And that's why I'm an art teacher. I do think it's important to try to grow, but I think that growth should come from love and passion rather than this unhealthy expectation, because these unhealthy expectations will only get in your way. To become unstoppable, you have to learn how to enjoy making ugly art. So let's talk about three mindsets that get in the way of this, because it's very possible for you. I've seen lots of students go through the process of learning how to fall in love with art again because they fell out of love at some point, and you're probably in that position. If you're looking towards YouTube to answer your questions, right? Like, if you're consuming a lot of YouTube content, it's probably because you've lost touch with your art. So let's talk about 3 ways to get back in touch with it. The first challenge that a lot of artists run into is basing their self-worth on outcomes. The art has to be good for it to be worth investing time into. Or if I'm not making beautiful art, then I'm just wasting my time, which puts a lot of pressure on improvement. It puts a lot of pressure on becoming good enough where the art is worth spending time on, which is a very unhealthy habit, because ultimately that just punishes you over and over again. Every mistake is a reflection of your failure as a human being. It becomes very, very personal. This is why a lot of artists can't handle criticism, because they attach their worth to the outcome of the pieces. The art has to be good because it's a direct connection with how you see yourself. This makes it very difficult to make ugly art. It makes it very difficult to enjoy the process of learning and exploring because you're so tight and rigid, because you're so fragile. You actually have to let go of this attachment to outcomes to be able to enjoy making ugly art. It does make sense that you've learned this habit, right? I'm not blaming you for attaching yourself to outcomes, because we're taught over and over again that you're valued based on, status, money, how you look, all of these things. Like, we are taught that through society. So it makes sense that you have this belief, but we need to detach this belief from our art. It can be helpful sometimes to decide that the outcome of the art almost doesn't matter. I'm going to throw it out, right? I'm going to take a sticky notepad. I'm just going to do doodles every single day, and then I'm going to throw them out, because that's going to teach me that the outcome is not what matters, it's the process of making things. So if you are someone who really struggles with this, I would recommend that you sit with that feeling of, why do I need this? Like, why do I attach so much of myself to the outcome of the art instead of the process? And how can you start to shift that? Sit down, journal, ask yourself how you can enjoy the process more and put less pressure on the outcomes. If that means throwing out some drawings, if that means doing doodles and then deciding that, like, actually I'm going to put it away and not look at it, I'm not going to share it with anyone. If you need to do those things to teach yourself how to detach yourself from the outcome of the art, then do that. Go through the process of doing that. because that is the only way you'll become an unstoppable artist. If you want to feel the joy of making ugly art, you have to detach yourself from the outcome of the pieces. I know that this isn't an easy thing to do. I know it takes a long time to practice and learn, but it's worth investing your time into. It might be the reason why you haven't made art in a while. If you're one of these artists who used to love making art and made tons of art in the past, and then suddenly now you don't make as much art, it might be because you've put too much pressure on the outcome. Now you're just so stressed about making good art that you're not even enjoying the process. Now, if you are one of these people who is struggling with this and you want my help, check out the Joyful Creative that's linked below. It's a course and mentorship program around detaching your self-worth and finding the love for art again, right? It's really about overcoming perfectionism, because I do think that the most common problem for artists is unhealthy expectations and perfectionism. There are all these small habits that artists tend to develop that get in the way of feeling the love for making art. I'm someone who's wasted over 10 years, making art, like forcing myself to make art, but not enjoying the process at all. And I did not grow. I did not make things I cared about. All the work turned out bad because I wasn't leaning into the love, because I was so stressed. Then eventually I learned some of these exercises. I learned some of these habits, rewired my brain towards the joy. And now art flows out naturally. It feels easy. It feels fun. And I grow so much more. So if you are someone who wants help with that, check out the Joyful Creative that's linked below, and I'll meet you in our first call. The second challenge that a lot of artists run into is what I like to call the purity myth. Our culture has a fascination with artists. So you hear so many different stories about great artists and their life and their relationship with art. And one thing that stands out to me is that a lot of times we focus on what we like to call the natural geniuses, or the prodigy child, like all of these stories that make artists think that you just have to be naturally good at making art. There's no challenge in it, right? A lot of these stories involve challenges with the external reality, right? Like making money off art or challenging relationships with other people. But a lot of times there is this idea that these artists have this pure creativity that just flows out naturally, and it's enjoyable and passionate all the way through, and there's no like struggle there. A lot of artists believe that they should have this pure creativity that just flows out of them, but that's not how it really works in real life. Art can be challenging. Sitting down to make art can be a struggle, and I think that we need to better appreciate how often artists fall out of love with art and then have to teach themselves how to love it again, because it's not something that comes naturally for most of us. We're not taught in our culture to like love things deeply. Play is something that we've lost. Whimsy is something that we've lost. And artists need those things. The playfulness of making art is so important to feeling the joy of it, which means that you actually have to acknowledge the challenges that get in the way of it. So if you are an artist who feels like you're not as good of an artist just because it's not coming out of you in like this pure way, it's not like pure passion that's flowing out of you, then I need to remind you that those stories aren't real, right? They might be true for some artists, but it's not the common story. Most artists struggle to sit down to make art. Most artists struggle with the fact that their lives are busy, and when they sit down to draw, that they don't really know what to make. And sometimes it's hard. Sometimes the art feels painful. Sometimes the art is just not as enjoyable. And that is very common. The reason why I made a course on perfectionism and the struggle to fall back in love with art is because it is so common. If you read the comments on a lot of my videos, you'll see tons of people who relate to that. So if you are one of these artists who's convinced yourself that to be a great artist, you have to be like this pure being that like is just creative, then stop yourself from believing that, because that is not the common story. Most artists actually have these struggles. It's very natural to fall out of love with art. And as you acknowledge that it's a natural thing that happens for a lot of artists, it's so much easier to then face the question of how to fall back in love with it. Instead of trying to force it, you can sit back and relax, and you can decide, okay, this is a common problem, which means that there are solutions. There are other artists who've gone through these experiences. There are other artists who have become stoppable, like that struggle to make art that is ugly and still enjoy it. All of those things are very common, which means that there are common solutions to it and that you can solve these problems. I think there's a lot of shame that builds up if you feel like you're uniquely damaged. If you believe that your problems are so unique that no one else has them, that can amplify your shame around it, right? Like the darkness grows if you believe that. But if you recognize that actually, you know what, this problem that I have is super common. There's lots of people who struggle with this exact same thing. It becomes so much easier to decide that like, okay, so this is normal. I'm not uniquely damaged, which means that I can find solutions and accept the fact that this is part of my creative journey. The third challenge that a lot of artists run into is what I like to call fake telepathy. This is when artists assume they know what other people are thinking or what they will think about your art. This is when you're working on a piece and you start criticizing your piece from the mindset that other people are going to say this, like, oh, if I post this on social media, people are going to say all these mean things, or if I show this to my friends, they're going to say these things. There's this assumption that you already know what other people are thinking. Now, it might be true that you're very good at predicting what other people think. That might be true. But if you don't leave room for discovery, you'll never leave yourself enough room to like explore and play. You actually need to leave that room for uncertainty. A lot of times we develop this skill of guessing what other people are thinking because we're trying to control how we're being perceived. And as you do that, as you lean into the skill of controlling how you're being perceived, you're telling yourself over and over again that you are too fragile to actually handle criticism. You're reinforcing the idea that you need to control things. You do not need to control how other people perceive your art. Your art is for you. So if you feel the love for it, if you focus on your energy towards it, and you stop worrying so much about what other people are thinking, then you become an unstoppable artist. But if you spend all this time and energy focusing on what other people might say, then you're taking your mind away from the present moment. You're taking your mind away from the creativity, which makes it even harder to actually make art that you love. I have a personal example of this that illustrates this problem perfectly. Over the past couple of years, I've been making more and more abstract art. And over the past 2 years, I made a bunch of pieces that are purely abstract. No figures, nothing that you can actually recognize, not even flowers in some of these pieces. And every time I made one of those pieces, I kept assuming that my friends would not like these pieces. Because I'm like, oh, most of my friends, they consume figurative work and like anime and stuff like that has figures in it. So I was like, oh, they're not going to like this. So I did not share my abstract pieces for the longest time. Then on a whim one day, one of my best friends is over and I talk about making abstract art. And I'm like, hey, let me show you. And I showed them the pieces and they were so excited about it. I was actually so shocked by how excited they were about these pieces because I've never seen them be that excited about anything else I've made. And I was looking at them, I was like, wait, for the past 6 to 8 months, I've hidden this stuff from you because I was so worried that you wouldn't like it. I was so worried that they were gonna say like, oh, well, that's nice for you, or like be dismissive of it because it didn't have figures in it. But they were so excited about it, they were looking at it, like staring into it and be like, whoa, this is so cool. Like you can turn the piece and it like shows different things. And I was befuddled by it, how much I had made assumptions about how they would perceive my art. And if I didn't take that risk, if I didn't decide that like, actually, let me take the risk of showing them anyways, I would not have discovered all that joy that I got back from seeing them enjoy my work. Now, I'm not saying that you have to share your work. If you're an artist who does your art privately and you do it just for yourself, that is beautiful. And I recommend a lot of beginners start there. Start by keeping your art a little bit more private so that you can develop your love for it first. But also recognize that when you make these assumptions about how other people are going to perceive your art, you actually don't know. Other human beings are a mystery. And the more you treat them like these predictable machines that you can like control or warp, the more you lose touch with all the adventure of life, right? For art to feel like an adventure, you have to leave room for risk. You have to leave room for uncertainty. And that includes the perception of your art in the eyes of other people. I know that that isn't an easy thing to do. You probably developed this skill to protect yourself. I recognize that. I recognize that in myself. I developed that skill to protect myself. But you're now in a place where you're probably safe. Your art doesn't have to feel so personal. Like if someone doesn't like your art, that's not a value judgment on you as a human being. That just means that they have different tastes. The more you can recognize that, the more you can let go of trying to control the minds of other people, the more fun you'll have in the art. And that is what it takes to become an unstoppable artist. If you want to become an unstoppable artist, you have to also let go of how other people are going to perceive you. Not just how you perceive your art, but also how other people perceive your art, right? So you have to let go of all of those things. If you are someone who struggles with this or any of the other things I talked about in this video, check out the Joyful Creative that's linked below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.